Hello, welcome to the first video on this channel. Um, the reason why I'm making this channel, I'll explain it later, but today I wanted to talk about New Year's, right? And I think that New Year's as a whole, right, as it's celebrated, I feel like it's a very controversial holiday. Not because like everyone widely doesn't like it, like some holidays, but I think it's controversial in the sense that, no, not in the sense, in the sense of like, what's it called? A New Year's resolution. Yeah, that's what it's called. And I feel like those types of things that you do during New Year's, right? When you're celebrating the new year, getting ready, planning, seeing what you're gonna do for the big 2026, right? Those are just things that like you plan for, you think that you're gonna do. But in like real retrospect, who really sticks to that, right? Like I know very few people who actually like continue their New Year's resolutions, which is the main reason why I made this channel in the first place. And that's because I'm trying to set goals for myself, As I've gotten older, I've kind of realized that, my time is not that long. So while I'm still here, I kind of want to be productive you know what I mean? I kind of want to live a life that I would be proud of. But anyways, so basically, right, here's my take on New Year's. I like it, right? I remember some wonderful celebrations that I had back in the day when I was a kid celebrating for the new year. Um, but then again, I do remember some times where it's like now I'm thinking like we have another year, school break is coming to an end, have to get back, have to start studying. It's almost coming too soon in the fact that I don't want it to end, right? Because after this, right, there's no more 2025, right? Everything that happened in this year is just done. It's gone, right? Like that's the end. And I just fell all the way down. But I mean, I think that time is a big factor in holidays, right? You celebrate a holiday maybe like 70 times in your life if you live an average normal lifespan of like 80. Since some holidays you might celebrate every year of your life, but well, let's be real. When you're 1 years old, are you really going to be celebrating the new year? No, right? So having that limited amount and each one being different kind of makes everything just that much more special that you need to hold on to. Um, and I feel like that's universal for all the holidays, although some are more important. Like you're not gonna say, "Oh, this is my like 23rd St. Patrick's Day." Like no, you're not gonna say that. But for New Year's, it's different since it's quantified as years, right? So you kind of get that sense of like, wow, I'm old. Like I'm not who I used to be. I'm not that I'm not that jolly old kid who's like in fourth grade. No, I actually have responsibilities now. I have to do stuff, and so I think one of the videos that I'm gonna make is gonna be on my New Year's resolution because even though I was just flaming it for being useless, I feel like if the more you share your New Year's resolution with people, the more you try and upkeep it. So I I guess that's why I'm doing this. I don't know. There is also this was also like a long lasting dream of mine when I was a little kid to make videos, but I don't know. I feel like as the years kind of went on, it kind of died down from social anxiety in a sense. Since I mean, man, when I was I could still remember sometimes when I was in elementary school, I did not care about anything, right? Like you could pull up with the new graphic Minecraft t-shirt and everyone would be like, "Oh, that's sick. That's awesome," right? But now it's like you pull up in that and you're getting called weird. It's like the normal is like just wear whatever, well, pause. Just wear what everyone else wears, you know. And I mean that's fine, right? Like I wear what I want to wear. Like I'm not gonna wear graphic Minecraft T-shirts, but if you like it, I'm not gonna judge. Right? I feel like we've been too judgy as we got more online with social media, but that's a topic for a different video that I'll make. I don't know. I'm trying to keep this video short, because I didn't sleep and it's already 6 a.m. So I'm kind of running on like 0 hours of sleep right now. But I don't know. I just thought I might start it now because I was thinking to myself, why do people make like New Year's resolutions, right? And it's because they get so excited, they get so fixated on that just to start, right? And then when you actually do start, it's like, how consistent are you gonna be? And I feel like some people, right, they go like January, February, and then they just die down. So I don't know. I think my New Year's resolutions, right, off the top of my head is, I wanna be kinder, right? Like I don't know. I feel like that's pretty vague, but and that's something people take for granted. But kindness is free, right? And I feel like that's a very important mentality that we all need to keep in mind as we go on with our lives. You know, if you're having a bad day, right? You don't need to make other people have a bad day just because you're having one, right? I mean, it if you're having a bad day, you don't need to make the whole world worse, right? You know, I feel like that's kind of what things have become, right? People get so bottled up with anger that when like little Timmy, right, asks Johnny over here, like, "Hey, can I have a piece of your lollipop?" I don't know. Don't ask kids for lollipops or don't steal. Anyways, that's besides the point. The point is that if little Timmy gets rejected, right, and like brutally rejected, like, no, you can't have my lollipop. I'll never let you have it, right? Just because Johnny was having a bad day. Like that's not right, right? And I feel like that you need to understand that fact that people value your opinion, right? So whatever you say, they're gonna keep that in mind. Right? I feel like a big example of this is for anybody who's like out there, right? And let's just say someone says, "Oh, your breath stinks," right? Like people take that to heart. Most people do, at least. If you don't, then please take that to heart because that's a very, very valid thing to say to people. Um, but you could say it a little nicer. Anyways, the point being is that you're gonna brush your teeth, right? If you're told that your breath stinks, right? I feel like that's just how people are. Or like for example, if someone says, "Oh, trying to think of something off the top of my head, like, oh, I'm smarter than you." No, that's a really bad example. Anyways, you get the point, right? Like if someone says, "Oh, you smell bad," they might take like an extra shower, put on deodorant, and whatever, right? The point being is that whatever you say, you know, it matters, right? Even if you're saying it as a joke. I mean, I don't know. I think we're getting a bit off topic from New Year's, but I'm just saying, right? Part of my New Year's resolution, I'm just trying to be kinder in the world, right? I'm not the kindest person in the world. I'm not gonna lie. There are times where I could be extremely, extremely annoyed with people, and then that kind of dictates on how I communicate with them. But then again, I don't know. Anyways, next on the list, I would like to learn a second language. And I feel like the reason is for the reason of most people. Um, because I think it's cool, you know. I want to get kind of educated toward other people's cultures, and I think that when you're in America, right, with such a cultural diffused place, right, you kind of like shift your perspective on how other people live their lives, right? Because you're so used to everyone being different. Because let's just say you have a friend like you have friends that are European, you have friends that are Mexican, Korean, like Chinese, whatever, right? They all celebrate their own things in America, right? But 9 out of 10 times, they're not going to be the same, right? Like, I mean, yeah, there might be like a bunch of people that are the same, but there are going to be a lot of people who celebrate a lot of different things. That's why we have things like Russian Christmas, Hanukkah, etc., etc., etc. And I think that other cultures are pretty fascinating sometimes when you actually learn about them. And language is one of the biggest parts in a culture, right? Like, the language runs deep within every country's culture. And I feel like that's learning that would be pretty nice on my life. So I might even show on how I want to do that. I don't really know how that's going to work, but I'll figure it out. And another thing that I would like to put on my New Year's resolution is being more disciplined, right? And it's not in the sense like, oh, actually, maybe it is like that. But, anyways, it's not really in the sense like, oh, every time I, I eat like a Rice Krispie treat, that's 300 push ups, right? No, like, I'm not going to do that. But it's more sort of in the sense like, if I'm at school, because I do go to school, like most people should if you're my age. But it's more so over in the sense like, when I'm at school, am I gonna play on my phone or am I gonna actually like do something productive, right? And there's not many things you could do that's productive on your laptop because, schools tend to ban people from using stuff, which I mean, I'm fine with because, it's part of the resolution, trying to stay more disciplined. But in some cases, that could be bad because there are some things that I do need to do on my laptop. But, it's fine. Doesn't matter. Um, I definitely think that this past year has really opened up my eyes. It's not like I'm a bad kid, right? It's more so of a sense that I just don't try, right? And I feel like that's an issue, right? Because if you're trying and you're failing, right, then that's one thing. But if you're not trying and you're failing, that's another thing. And like, what is failing, right? Because I feel like so many people have such vast opinions on what that definition is, right? Failing is like not meeting your expectations, right? Like, if you see constantly, like, I feel like, hold on, let me try and think of it. If you see like 100s constantly, right? And one day you get a 98, right? Is that failing? I mean, to some it might be, right? To some, a 98 is absolutely horrendous. Like, you're gonna get beat with a belt. I do not condone that, by the way. But I'm just saying, right? And then there's some other times where failing could be like a 50, right? Like, that's their consideration, failing, and 98 is like getting the best grade in their life. So, I mean, I'm not saying I'm failing because I'm not, right? I'm not gonna lie. I don't try. Like, I'm not here to brag because bragging just seems kind of wrong. But I'm not. I don't fail, right? I get really good grades. One of the top students in my class, and it's always like I always come off as arrogant in my eyes whenever someone asks me like, oh, how did you do this, right? Because everyone wants to know the secret to success, right? And no one really wants to put in the work. So they all just ask like, oh, how can I do this, right? Instead of like actually trying. But in some cases that could be good because some people actually know some legitimate like secrets. But for me, it just comes easier. Like, I don't know what to tell them, right? So I'm just sitting there like trying to think of something to make up that'll actually sound smart, right? Because the truth is I just am. And that's not something that you could build over a day. That's kind of something you're born with in a sense, or just something that you have to be lucky to have. Anyways, another New Year's resolution is by the end of the year, I would like to run a marathon. Okay. Now, a marathon seems like a long run, right? And by far it is, right? Like I ran a lot, right? Back when I was a little kid. And I feel like that's something that kids tend to lose as they get older, is that you start running a lot when you're a child, right? Because you have the world as your race, as your track. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But the world is your limit, right? I keep falling. I'm sorry if this is bothering anyone. Um, but anyways, so like when you're a kid, right? You're kind of met with no bounds, right? You could just run wherever, however far you want to go until you get tired, and then you just do it again, right? But as you get older, you kind of just get more toward your shelter, like your home, your room. You kind of stay more indoors, right? And I feel like that's something that like is kind of sad, right? Because the world is beautiful, right? Don't get me wrong. This world was made for every single one of us to enjoy, and I feel like just staying inside really doesn't help that at all. So I don't know. I feel like going outside more and practicing like sports, because I do a sport that I'm very passionate about, that I would like to think I'm good at, but I don't know. I don't like to judge myself. But yes, that's basically that. And another one is trying to think off the top of my head what because I'm not running off a script, right? Because I feel like scripts are more thought out, but in the moment, like at the time, I feel like those videos are just slightly better because of their authenticity. So if I make any mistakes in this video, I'm sorry. Right? I'm probably just gonna post the raw clip, the raw footage of this, call it a day. Um, but anyways, I'm trying to think now. I know there were a couple more that I want to put on there. Oh, no, I do remember it. Okay. Now, this may seem like a weird thing to some, but to me, I would like to have this on here. Don't judge me, but something I would like to put on my New Year's resolution is getting a girlfriend, right? Um, I don't know. Maybe it's me, but people when they're in relationships tend to be a lot happier most of the time. Well, at least if it's a good one, they tend to be a lot happier. So I've never had one, right? You know, that's no surprise to someone who's making YouTube videos at 6 a.m. running off no sleep. But I definitely think that I'm here to show that there's hope for everyone. If I could get one, then you guys can too, right? And I'm not saying that as a bad thing, right? That like if I can't, then you guys can't. Like even if I can, you guys might not be able to, or you guys might be able to and I can't. Like it works for different people, but I definitely feel like that at least one of these times you guys will find someone. And I feel like that's what you guys have to think too, or else, you're just never going to find anyone. And I don't want to like say that because of course I hope that everyone finds someone in their life, to hold very precious to them. But the reality of the truth is that a lot of people, right, when they are in relationships, they don't last long, right? They really don't. Let's be real. But I mean, some do. Some last your whole life. Some only last a month. Some only last a week. And that's your opinion. That's your take. You can do whatever. But from what I've seen, I think if you find the right person, it'll last a lifetime. And I don't know. I think there's just something special about that to me that I hold, I hold deep within my values. But that's a side quest, right? That's not part of the main. If I can't get one, then it's okay. Also, how did someone already beat it? I think I'm just too focused on talking. Um, I'm trying to think. Is there anything else before I wrap this video up? Because I think I've been talking for a little too long. So I'm sorry for anyone who actually watched this whole thing. But please leave a comment. Like, I want to know that people watch this. I don't want to, like, just be talking to talk. Because I feel like that's, like, kind of weird sometimes. So if you do watch this, please, like, leave a comment. Do something. Just, I don't care. Let me think. Is there anything else I could think of on my New Year's resolutions? I don't think so. Not that I could think of, at least right now. I think the main thing is just staying consistent with my goals, right? Is definitely something I want to do. Exercise every day, make sure I have like a somewhat proper diet as best as I can, right? Because I'm not going to influence my diet completely. I feel like that's what your parents do. But yeah, I feel like that's basically it. Now, if there are any main takeaways from this, is that I don't hate New Year's. I just don't appreciate how fast it comes, right? And another big thing is, don't hate, guys. I know people say, oh, like, I hate this, I hate that, right? You don't, right? Like, trust me, hating is bad. Okay. Hating is something that you really don't want to do. You don't want to associate yourself with people who hate. I mean, it doesn't matter, right? I'm not going to, like, tell you who to hang out with. But I'm just saying, if you always hang out with people who hate, then you're eventually going to become one, right? So just keep that in mind. What else was I talking about? I just died. Yeah, so the main takeaways from this is I don't hate New Year's. I don't dislike it either. I just finally realized that this year, I think it's come a bit too fast for me. I haven't really thought about it like this at all. There have been some nights where I've just been sitting there thinking about, like, the point of life, right? Because it's like you're on this earth for so ever how many minutes or how many days, how many years, and when it's all over, it's like, what's next, right? I'm not gonna get into if there's an afterlife, right? Because I feel like that's controversial. But I mean, I don't know. I definitely think that if they're like, your opinion on that definitely influences how you live your life, right? And so I just want to live my life to the fullest right now, right? When I'm young, be happy, try and stay out of trouble as much as I can. I don't want to ruin my life while I'm still young. I still have so much time left, I like to think. So maybe next year, if this channel is still up, if I'm consistent enough, then I'll get back to that. But I think I'm done with this game. I need to get some sleep. So yeah, that's basically all I wanted to say. So I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you for your time. Please comment, because I don't know if anyone watches this, but I think that's going to be it. And goodbye.